Hey Megamaniacs, this is Mr. MegaManFan, and I wanted to start this week's video with a reminder: stay home, stay safe. We're all in this together. I want you all to be well. And with that, here are a few words from Megaran. Yo, this is Megaran, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace! Before I get into this week's pickups, I wanted to go over a few things about the channel, fill you guys in on some information that you may or may not be aware of, such as the fact that normally I work as a sports reporter, which means I spend a lot of my time during the week writing articles, interviewing fighters, and covering fights when there are big events. But due to the current situation with the global pandemic, I'm not able to do that. So what's weird for me is that because of my schedule and the fact that I have a day job, I tended to record a lot of the content for this channel in advance, weeks, sometimes even months ahead of time. But I'm doing something different for this week's episode. I'm postponing the episode that would normally air to talk directly to all of you and let you know that some of the content you see was recorded pre-pandemic. I'm trying to mix it in as best I can with the old and the new, but I also feel like even though the circumstances have changed since I recorded some of that content, we're all staying at home and we all need things to watch and things to discuss, so I feel like I'd be doing you all a disservice if I didn't still release episodes of Genesis Does, The Retro Hunting Adventures, The PC Engine Files, so on and so forth. I can always mix in new content during the week to supplement the pre-recorded content, but if some things seem more upbeat or ebullient or joyful because they were recorded at a different time under different circumstances, I hope you can all understand that. I'm not releasing any content to make light of the situation that we're all in right now. It's just because of my job, I was constantly doing things ahead of time so that I always had new content coming out. And now that's just not possible because I'm not going anywhere for a while. Most people aren't going anywhere for a while. We're all trying to make this thing work, but I think that also reflects the content of this week's episode because obviously game stores are closed. Nobody's going through and picking out the things that they find that they didn't have that they need or that look interesting and strike their curiosity. That's what I used to do. That's where a lot of these episodes came from. And when I would have in between episodes from going out live, there would be some occasional, I don't know if you want to call it critique or just curiosity that, oh, well, when you get stuff by mail, that's not really hunting. But in this case, I'm going to argue that during the global pandemic, what other kind of hunting is there? I don't see people, at least sensible people, going to pawn shops, thrift stores, flea markets, and game stores. Most of those should be closed, and if they're not, I would question how they're being deemed essential, but that's irrelevant to the point I'm trying to make. I think right now more than ever, if you're hunting by mail, if you're looking for things that you want or need and getting them sent to you, that's a perfectly valid way to be game collecting right now, and it may be that way for the foreseeable future. But at least thanks to the magic of this social media platform called YouTube, we can still all share our collecting and our joy of video games and retro with each other. So, with that rambling introduction out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for being with me here another week. I hope you're all staying well and staying safe. Let's get on to my latest pickups. Forewarned that there will be at least one thing that I open this week that will be a complete mystery to me because the eBay seller told me
he sent me the wrong thing and then told me, go ahead and keep it. I mixed up the labels by mistake, so when I get back your item or have the person who received your item forward it to you, you'll get that and you can just keep the one I sent you by mistake for free, no charge, because I have multiples of them. So something I didn't even order is apparently mine now. So a little bit of a mystery for this week's episode, a little extra entertainment value for all of us during this current crisis we're living with. I get something unexpected and you all get to find out what it is along with me. But we'll start with this, which I believe is something I ordered because of Strider7X and his excellent videos. A channel I recommend you check out. I find he has a very soothing voice. Some people might say it's monotone, but I find his content incredibly easy to listen to and watch, just listening to the sound of his voice and the interesting topics that he has, because he is a huge fan of the Paper Mario games. And in Japan, the first Paper Mario game was called Mario Story on Nintendo 64. So, out of curiosity, for the many times he has compared the Japanese version of the game to the North American version of the game, I decided to pick up a loose copy of Mario Story for myself. So that's a big shout out to Strider7X, because now, like him, I'm going to be able to compare those two versions, and I look forward to doing that. More now so than ever with having a whole bunch of extra time at home. I mean, this is really the time if you want to dig into your library and explore things that you haven't had time to do because work and life and responsibilities were keeping you busy, then this might be a good time to do some of that stuff. One of my goals during this was to complete my collection of Nintendo DS Sega Sonic games. Now, this one, a little rough in the corner. It's obviously pretty well worn. I can see pockmarks. Maybe they come out on camera, maybe they don't, but it was relatively inexpensive, and importantly for me, it was complete with the game and the manual, because I'm not a huge fan of loose Nintendo DS games. I feel like they should be complete in the box because they came in a clamshell, so that's the ideal way for them to be. I think maybe I'll just put a little piece of tape or something over that corner so it doesn't curl up any further than it already has. But as long as the game works, I will be satisfied in the end. Now, is this one going to be the mystery package? It's awfully thin. Makes me suspect that maybe it is, but one way to find out. Let's see what's in here. Oh, it's taped in here. Oh, I know what this is. I ordered some batteries. I ordered some batteries with tabs to replace ones in various Pokemon, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. So this is the replacement batteries that I ordered. It's a project that Fix-It Phil is going to help me with when the time is right, because he knows how to do it properly and he has the tools, and I'll learn from him and I'll be able to do it the next time when I need to. So thank you in advance to Phil. And let's move on and find out what's inside this package. By the feel, I'm thinking it's another Sonic game that I needed for Nintendo DS. And that would be the case. Sonic Rush Adventure. eBay sellers seem to get really confused between Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. A lot of them list Sonic Rush as Adventure or vice versa. They are two completely distinct, separate games. And Sonic Rush Adventure is inexplicably harder to find than the regular, or I shouldn't say regular, the first Sonic Rush, pardon me. So this was the sequel to that, but I guess it must have had a lower print run compared to the other games, and I don't see any blemishes on this one, which is good because I paid a little more for this, so I'd want it to be in much nicer cosmetic condition than the Sega All-Stars racing game. This one is more important to me. Okay. This next one I can't even put on camera because it has an address label on both sides for some reason, so I didn't have any black marker or any masking tape to cover it up with, so I'm pulling it straight up out of the package into the camera, and it is Sega Superstars Tennis. Well, we still haven't gotten to that mystery item yet. So far, everything I've received is something I actually purchased. So the mystery deepens. This one is in both English and French, so clearly it was sold in Canada, but it's the same game. It's Sega Superstars Tennis, another one that's inexplicably hard to find complete. You'll see a lot of loose copies of Sega Superstars Tennis if you check online retail sources, and I'm not sure what that's about, but that should bring me up to having a complete collection of Sonic Nintendo DS games. Games that are about Sonic or that prominently feature Sonic. I believe there were 8 in total, and there were only a few that I didn't already have. Okay, is this the mystery item? Well, it would almost have to be because I don't think I have anything left to open. So you have to be plugged in if you're using an iPhone camera or a digital camera of some kind. This one I don't think is a mystery item either. This looks like something I purposefully bought. So the mystery may be that the seller contacted me and I don't even have the mystery item, because I don't think this is the mystery. I think this is an item that I had been looking for a very, very long time. This is Mario Party E. I'm going to do a video about the e-reader at some point, and I never bought this game back in the heyday, even though I bought an e-reader and many a pack of cards for both Super Mario Bros. Advance 4, Super Mario 3, now that's an awkward title, and some of the individual packs that were for classic NES games, and I even bought some Animal Crossing cards so we could swipe in characters and designs with the GameCube to Game Boy Advance link cable. So I had a lot of e-reader stuff. I was one of those people who was actually enthusiastic about the e-reader, which kind of made me the exception to the rule because it really didn't do so well in the United States and was discontinued, and for a while it was even heavily discounted at places like Toys R Us. You could get some of the stuff quite inexpensively for a little while, but the tables have turned on that scenario, and now it's all commanding a premium. And finding a complete in-box copy can be pretty difficult when it comes to this, because the e-reader games like this one didn't have big print runs in the US because they weren't very successful. Here's the instruction booklet, which is one part that you don't always get. Here's the playmat that you put your cards on. This too is often missing. And you can see in here, if I hold this at the right angle, one complete set of 64 cards to play the game. So that will be a future video coming up on the channel, but I looked for a boxed copy and one that was not completely destroyed. This one has a few nicks and a few creases from actually being played, but the box is complete and it's not torn. So for me, for any kind of card game or board game, I'd call that a win, because a lot of these things get really heavily dinged up in the process. So now I have to contact that seller and tell him the real mystery is I didn't get your mystery item. So what can I say? That's the video for this week. That's my pickups. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, being healthy, and following the guidelines of your local and state authority. This is Mr. MegaManFan wishing you all well until I see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.